Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. It has been one crazy week, so I know it's been a little bit since I posted, and we had a few technical difficulties today. So if you're seeing this, hey. If you're not, well, hopefully I get a video out soon, but fingers crossed that this one works. So anyways, I hope everybody is having a, good week. Here in Ontario, we are slowly opening up. We are in stage 1 or step 2 or phase 1, whatever they want to call it, with kind of reopening everything from COVID. So basically all the stores are open minus gyms and theaters and stuff. Restaurants are outdoor eating. So let's hope people are really respectful and, not go apeshit crazy and only go out for stuff, that they need instead of just going out because they feel like it. Because this is what happened last time. Everybody went out, cases went up, and we got locked down for a third time. So hopefully we don't make it to 4 because, people, they get pissed off and wonder why we're getting in lockdown, and it's just like, well, look at the actions. Like, I don't know what to tell you. People sometimes. Anyways, for this topic of this video, it is going to be kind of like my experience and my situation with it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that this is exactly what it is for everybody, because everybody's situation is different and people handle it differently. And that topic is OCD. Now, OCD is commonly linked to over excessive cleaning. They have to have everything clean. They are afraid of germs and whatnot. That is the common thing that is linked with OCD, which is entirely true. I mean, it is linked, but it is not the number one and only sign of OCD. OCD can come in many different shapes and sizes. So, OCD can, for some people, overtake their lives. Like, they are controlled by it. So, they have to, for example, step on every crack if they see it, or press a button a certain amount of time. So if you guys watch The Big Bang Theory, Sheldon, who did have OCD, had to knock a certain amount of times or do something a certain amount of times, and if he didn't finish it, he really had the need to finish that knock. It really, really bugged him. Like, it gave him anxiety because he just needed to do that. And that's, that is what happens to some people. And other people, they need medication because they're too controlled by it. Or, people find a way to handle and deal with it. It's not always there. Like, it's not always, you can't always, tell, right? For certain people. Anxiety can set it off for some people. For me, it came in many different areas, and I still have it today. It's not totally overly bombarding my life. It shows up differently. So, for example, for me, for a while there, I was really, really obsessed with bus numbers. Okay, and what I mean by this is every bus has a number, so 29360, okay, for example. And for a while there, because I used to, well, I still do, but I used to bus a lot for work a few years ago, and every time I saw a bus, I had to write down that number. And if I missed it, it gave me anxiety. It made me happy to see all of those numbers in my phone. I was literally any bus, anywhere, I had to write down the number. It was, I don't know why, that was just a thing that popped up And, I talked about it with my doctor and stuff, and he says, for me, my OCD isn't overly, like, again, it doesn't drive my life, so it kind of fades in and out. Well, I mean, some of it is really constant. For example, I have to have my books organized. I'm that type of person that honestly has to have my books organized by either a series, if it's a series, or if it's like a certain amount, like say romance, but it's not like a full on series. I have to have a shelf for that specifically. Star Wars. Yes, I'm a Star Wars fan. If you guys didn't see my last Q&A video, I'm a little bit of a Star Wars fan now. I have to have all my Star Wars books together. I have all my murder and mystery books together. I have to have them together. All my like Lord of the Rings, Hobbit books, all of that like Middle Earth world, I have to have them together. And if one book is like, slightly off or like not in the right place, like I have to fix it right away or it gives me anxiety. And it just makes me happy. Like my OCD, it's kind of weird. Usually, for OCD, it's basically a compulsion, right? To do something, and it gives you like anxiety and stuff, and it's just like you're driven by it. And then you get some type of relief, and then it just constantly continues. My OCD is very it makes me happy, okay? So if I do a certain thing, like for example, my books, it makes me happy. I'm a very, very happy panda. And that's it. Like I don't have to take them off the shelf, put them back on. I just have to arrange them and I'm just happy. And that just subsides my OCD in that way. I do have a slight OCD when it comes to cleaning. I grew up with with my mom who likes to clean, right? And to keep everything organized. And I grew up with that. So I inherited all of that. Like not like genetically, but like that's just something I inherited to, do. But since my anxiety and depression and all that, sometimes it gets kicked into overdrive and I will spontaneously rip apart my room, clean it, move shit around, organize everything, and that makes me happy. My OCD shows up like that sometimes, very spontaneous. And for cases that are, kind of low on the spectrum instead of like really high, that is a common thing. There isn't a lot of research based on, what I've talked about with my therapist and stuff. Just on, because everybody's so focused on the whole, like, if it, like, controls your life and all of that aspect, whereas on the lower end of the aspect, people just tend to shrug it off and just be like, oh, it's nothing. That's just common. That's the common thread, okay? That if it doesn't honestly control your life, a lot of people just shrug it off. A lot of doctors shrug it off and just say, oh, well, it's normal. Everybody does that type of thing. But, finding the right doctor to talk to you about this, or a therapist, or somebody that, even doing your own research, there's not a lot out there. It tends to, like, when I first started this and be like, hey, I don't have OCD. It doesn't control my life. Like, I'm not going to make a big deal out of it and whatnot. But once I, started going through therapy, again, this is not for everybody. This is just my personal experience with it. I got to learn a little bit about it. And unfortunately, like from what I've just been saying, is there isn't a lot out there on the lower end of the spectrum, because a lot of people just see it as, oh, it's calming. Everybody does that once in a while, However, it's, for me, like, I feel it. Like, I know that it's kind of like obsessive. Like, it's like a compulsion, right? Like, I tend to feel like coming on, so it's like, okay, I need to do this. This will make me happy type of thing. For another, like, compulsion that I have is, which is gonna sound really, really weird to a lot of people. and be like, oh yeah, lots of people do that. Like, why are you saying that that's OCD? Again, I've talked about it with my therapist, and he says that's kind of linked to it, and like I can feel it. So what I mean is, when I find a series, like either a movie series, a book series, I have to compulsively look into it. Like, I have to do the research behind it. I have to read all the books that come with it if they have it. I have to watch all the movies. I do the research. It's very compulsive, but it makes me happy at the end of it, because like for me, I better understand that story, like reading the books or doing the research. Like, I understand that, and like I get into this weird into the minds of the characters and stuff, and it's very compulsive, but it makes me happy. It's not a danger to anybody. It just makes me happy. It's very comforting to me, which tends to be kind of like a myth when it comes to OCD, because a lot of research is done on the higher end of the spectrum, which is like, okay, this is like really madly affecting somebody's life. This is like, it could bring them to tears. It just frustrates them. And, that, that is out there. That's a real thing. There are some people that have to go on medication for it, or they have to live with this, and it's scary, and it can be overwhelming. For me, it does make me happy when my OCD does flare up. I also, I was noticing this, like for plates or dishes or stuff, they have to be a certain way. Or else like I'm just like, it just bugs the shit out of me, and I have to do it just to like make myself happy, and like, not feel like I'm living on pins and needles. And another OCD for me, I've noticed, and again, this one's gonna sound weird, but I like when I do a job, like for work, I have to. It's a compulsion. I have to know all the information. I if it's very hands-on, like I have to see it and like walk it through a few times, and I have to have that support to in order to like fulfill the job. And again, that doesn't really sound very OCD, but the steps to go through it, it's very whatever. So when I don't, for example, have a boss that's very compassionate about that, or just thinks that, just doing it once and it's fine, like you're a mastermind, you can fucking do it, I completely, like, my anxiety flares up. And that is what also has happened this week. Of like, I was planning on doing this video, but I've been having a really rough time at work. I'm not gonna bullshit you. It's very, again, I was very prepared to go into a very high functioning, high paced situation. I totally get that, and I was prepared for that. But my OCD, like, kind of kicked in. Well, not kind of, it fully kicked in. And it's like, to be the best person I can be, I don't want to half-ass anything, and I feel really bad. And this ties in with the anxiety and the depression. And that's why a lot of people with anxiety and depression, they tend to have some form of OCD. I'm not saying all cases, I'm just saying the research is out there. It tends to come with it, and sometimes you don't even realize it. And it's not always there, right? So anyways, long back on track. For me, this job, it's very hands-on what I'm doing, and I feel like a complete idiot, and like I can really feel my anxiety kicking in when it's just like, my boss shows me something once, and then it's like, okay, you have to do it. It's like, no, I have to see it like 3 times max. Well, not max, I should say, like at least 3 times for me to get comfortable with the idea of me doing it. That's just like a compulsive. Like, I have to at least see it 3 times. Like when I say max, like it has to be like 3 or more, or like I tend to freak out, and that's exactly what's happened. And I get it. My work, again, like, it's very high paced, right? But the frustrating part for me is, like, I'm physically struggling. I know this. And, like, I'm trying to communicate this with my boss, and it's like she doesn't have the time or day kind of thing with it. And then it's like when I turn around and see she's helping a new person that's, a few weeks newer than me, and completely hands-on, doing things with her, and it's just like, that's help. Help me. Like, and you kind of feel like an idiot because you're like, I'm 27, like, I'm not a child, but it's like, this is just like a compulsive thing. Like, I have to see it a certain amount of times, and I need you to fucking be with me for a certain amount of times for me to do it. And it's just like, and I have this compulsion of, like, I've noticed this from this job, like, I constantly have to ask somebody, like, if I'm doing it right, because she only showed me, like, once or twice, and then it's like, go on, and then it's like, she's off by herself. So I compulsively have to ask, like, is this right? Because I don't fucking know, right? And then it's just like, when they say, oh yeah, you just do a little bit more, and then they're off, and it's just like, whoa, what the fuck? Right? And, like, I've apologized to my coworkers who've been there. I'm like, I am sorry. I honestly, this is overwhelming for me and stressing me out. And I apologize that I keep asking for help, but, like, help me, right? And, like, some of them understand, and some of them, again, it's a very high-paced situation. So, everybody's kind of under a little bit of stress daily. But it's a lot sometimes, And it's overwhelming. So I've been honestly exhausted. Physically and mentally just exhausted this week. This is why I haven't really done videos. I've been planning to do this video. And I know some people that are going to watch this and they're going to say, this is not OCD. To them, it might not see it, because, again, there are certain standards out there that is saying this is what OCD is. Excessive cleaning, excessive counting, or this, and this. And if it's not on that list, then you don't have it. It's in your mind. People do it all the time. And that's what makes people not want to come out and get help or seek information. Because there's this stigma of, like, if you don't fit into this box, then you don't belong in this box type of thing, right? And that is what I'm finding through my mental health journey. As you guys know, I have a lot of shit that I deal with, right? And it's extremely frustrating when you want to seek the information, you want to seek the help, or just do the research. And there's just not enough out there, because, again, if you don't fit into this certain box, then you're listed as you don't have it. You're just, it's all in your head. It's just whatever. It's everyday shit. And that's not true. When I finally found a good therapist or a good support system, and, just explaining this and being like, hey, I think this is what's going on with me. I'm not entirely sure because I don't fit into this box. I don't check off this box. And, finding that right circle of people that are like, hey, you're not crazy. It is okay, It's absolutely mind-blowing that I know I'm going off a little bit of a tangent here, but it's like, our whole society is, like, big on mental health now, especially with COVID, Excuse me, everybody's been cooped up, everybody's, a lot of people have lost loved ones. Nobody knows what to do. Nobody, hasn't had to deal with this in over 100 years, right? So, the flashing the whole big mental health, we're here for you, rah, rah, seek help. We want to help you type of thing. And it's just like, when you're just, first of all, when you're shoving down medication in people's throats, just be like, hey, yes, here's medication, it'll make you feel better. That doesn't work for everybody, okay? And A, that should never be the first thing that doctors give you. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, for me, I had to go through a big ass, like, fucking, it was rough. But anyways, like, it was like paperwork after paperwork, conversation after conversation. And then it was like, yes, okay, we're gonna try you on the process of medication. Anyways, that's a whole system. 2, when you shrug off people because, you have a list of standards of depression, anxiety, other mental health, and it's just like, if, oh, okay, you don't have this, but you're kind of doing this, it's fine, you're fine. That's not helpful for anybody, okay? Nobody. That is not helpful. Again, everybody's mental health journey is different. No one is the same, okay? Like, my depression is different from Kevin's down the street. My OCD is different from Christina up the street, okay? My Stockholm syndrome is different from Greg. It's a different journey for everybody. There's not one. Sure, you can have common things, but again, everybody's journey is different. Everybody handles shit differently. And that's not kind of what people or doctors want to hear. Again, they have a certain box, and if you don't fit it, well, fuck you, you're on your own type of thing. 3, nothing. Okay? There are certain situations that really piss me off when it's just like, the whole big stigma of mental health and, let's break those walls. And then it's just like, those are just words to some people. They're absolutely just words to people. They're not here to be a support system. They don't want to, hear your story, even though they've broadcasted it all over social media and all over the fucking world and whatever. And then it's like, when you come to them or, share your story, they don't want to fucking hear it. And it's just like, then why the fuck are you out there saying all of this shit? And then it's like, when it comes to people coming to you or like, sharing a story, whatever, you want no fucking part of it. This is why some people don't fucking go out and deal with or get help or research or whatever for their mental health, because they have people that are coming out like that. It's just like, yeah, rah, rah, let's break those walls. And then it's just like, it's just emptiness, right? It's absolutely just so frustrating, because it's like, I don't know. Like, I can sit here and, share my experiences, which I love to do. And, I want to, have my word out there to have people say, hey, I'm not alone in feeling this. Because, there are people out there that feel the fucking same way. That they're just scratching their heads being like, what the hell? Just because I don't fit into this box, am I fucking crazy type of thing? And for the longest time, that's what I was dealing with. For, am I crazy? I don't necessarily check off in this box, but I check it off in this box, and like, what? Right? It's just absolutely mind-boggling. And, number 4, just because somebody is on medication does not mean that's it. All your problems are solved. And I hate it, especially from doctors, okay? That are like, okay, I've been on medication for X amount of years, and, when I talk to my doctor and, I'm saying, okay, like, hey, I need a little extra help in this area. Like, I'm not necessarily, need to go on medication. Is there like a support group or something? Mostly it's online now, but, and it's just like, nope, I've done everything I can for you. You're on medication. You'll be fine. Just take a deep breath. Stay active. You'll be fine. And it's like, really? Really? That's your fucking answer? No, like, hey, let's have a deeper conversation. What's really going on? Blah, blah, blah. Nothing. That's really gonna be your hands. You're just gonna wash your hands and be like, oh, hey, go stay active. You'll be fine. And it's like, what? What? And it's just like, that could stress somebody else out. Like, that could really stress somebody out. And that can flare up their whole mental health, right? And that is, what I've noticed for myself is, when I get really, really, depressed, not that, I want to be. It just sometimes happens. And, my OCD clicks in and either I'm madly fucking cleaning, I'm, reorganizing my books, making that, writing down numbers, doing something a certain amount of times. It can be absolutely frustrating. And I understand how people can get just absolutely exhausted and, sad. Because it's like you see yourself, this is happening to you. And it's just like there's no answers out there for you. There's no support out there for you. You're kind of just getting like a brick wall. And then it's just like you kind of feel just left out to like do whatever. Because it's just like there's not enough research, or nobody really wants to listen, or it's just you just don't fit into that box that whoever made that box, it's and people just going by that box, and it's just like and that's why it's like, well, what do you want us to do? Like, really? It's all talk and no action. And it's just absolutely frustrating. It's okay, because you want to better yourself, Or you want to be able to do the research, see the information, and just, give your mind peace. Peace of mind of just, okay, I understand it better, or okay, I'm getting, support, or whatever your journey or path may be. But sometimes it's just like you're literally hitting a brick wall. And I get that, guys. And I know I didn't fully go into the whole OCD back history. It's just, I feel like sharing my experience and my opinion about the whole, like, hitting the wall type of thing. It's a common thing, and people do have that. So instead of just sitting here for, like, a half an hour rambling on about all these, like, statistics and, research, and it's just being here, present, human, vulnerable, sharing the mess of everything, instead of just sitting down and being like, if you have this, then you have that. Like, I'm not that type of person. And, I will be doing other videos about OCD, kind of breaking it down, like I will be doing for Stockholm. I know I did the video about that, and I know some people want me to go into a deeper thing with that, which I will. And PTSD. These are going to be like mini-series, guys, and it's just going to be a lot about just me sharing my journey. Yes, maybe some facts and research and all that stuff, but I'm here to be open and honest with you guys and, share my struggles or frustrations and the highs and the lows, and just kind of humanizing things again, instead of just being another number or just being another fact. That's kind of what this channel is all about. And in between, we're doing true crime and Q&As and other random stuff on this channel. But anyways, guys, I just want to say thank you for all the love and support that you give me. I hope that you guys, realize that I'm here giving you the same if you need it or want it. I'm always here for you guys. Remember, I love that we are having an open conversation, that we do have comments, because I know some channels don't. So I'm really glad for that. But also, you can reach me by email if you want. Anyways, guys, never give up. Always keep fighting. You're enough, and you are very much loved. Until the next video, guys, stay safe. And enjoy the summer. Bye, guys.